Thanks for joining me and hearing our next speaker, Jessica Hauerwas. Jessica is the Director of Operations at brandRUSSO, a strategic branding agency in Lafayette. She's also serving as the Internship Coordinator, working with interns to gain hands-on experience in working with clients in an agency setting. I'm also proud to claim Jessica as a graduate of Leadership Lafayette Class 32. Today, we will hear about the long and short-term benefits of an internship program and how the agency creates their teams for the future. As Jessica goes through her session, please feel free to use the chat and the Q&A function to drop some questions that you might have for her. Handing it over to you, Jessica.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Ashley. And I am also very proud to claim Class 32. So thank you for that shout out. Hi, everyone. I'm super excited to be speaking with you guys today. Like Ashley said, I am Jessica Hauerwas and I work at brandRUSSO. And we are a strategic branding agency in Lafayette. And I kind of want to give a little bit of background about how that actually integrates into what we're going to be talking about today, which is building your workforce as well as an internship program. So a little bit of background about RUSSO. Our agency is actually coming up on 20 years old in February, which we're super excited about. But we have nearly a decade, if not more, experience working with interns, whether they be in the marketing program at UL or just interested in learning more about the agency lifestyle. We have worked with interns really throughout the South. We actually had a program this summer where we had interns from Ole Miss, Texas A&M, LSU, UL, giving them opportunity to learn what it's like to work for an agency, but in a remote setting, especially the fact that we're in kind of a COVID situation. And so we have been very proud to have this program, and it's been really exciting to watch how it changes and just to offer the experience for interns to really know what it's like to be in real life in an agency and not necessarily just what you see on Mad Men. But not only have we worked with a lot of interns, but we have grown the program in our own agency to where actually 4 of our interns who were in the unpaid position worked super hard and made themselves invaluable to our agency and are actually now paid full-time employees. And so how do you get transition from that? How do you become a college student who's an unpaid intern doing a lot of different tasks for a lot of different things to where you're groomed to be the perfect employee? We recognized pretty early on that within our industry in agency life, there's a pretty high turnover rate. And that was something that our founders and our agency is really trying to overcome. Instead of having a high turnover rate, grooming the type of employees that we want to be working for us and then hire from within. When it comes to working with our clients, really we have a very diverse roster from clients that are throughout the nation, whether they're a small startup or whether they're a large hospital system, or if they're a national franchise. We have had the experience of working with companies who have a similar struggle as us as a small business ourselves, and that's hiring quality talent and then keeping that quality talent to where you're able to build your business better. So whether it's us as an agency, small business, or working with these very diverse client rosters, I've run into the same problem, and that's how do I find the right people to take my business to the next level? There is no one size fits all answer. Different industries are going to have different struggles. There are going to be different processes and procedures when it comes to HR and to hiring. But in order to obtain and retain young talent, you need to invest in them, and there also needs to be incentive. Really nowadays, it's not good enough to just offer a high salary, or it's not good enough to just offer a benefits package. It's not enough to just hand them a training manual and say, good luck. It's about providing an investment and an incentive to where your workforce is excited to go to work for you and want to walk alongside you in growing your business. They want to dream with you. They want to walk with you. And so it's creating that workforce yourself, because often those can be hard to find. So what we're here to talk about today is internships. So you as an employer, or you who are interested in starting a small business, you have the opportunity to do one of 2 things. One, you can create a really super skilled errand runner to where they can run around town and grab you coffee and do all of your kind of side hustle work for you, or you have the opportunity to build a skilled employee who's ready for the full-time workforce. Whenever someone comes to work with you and they suddenly leave your company, how do you want them to talk about you? Do you want them to say that they gave me a gas card, I was able to run their errands for them? Or do you want them to say that they invested time in me and they made me a better employee? I think as small businesses or large businesses, we have the power to create the workforce that we so want and so need, and often complain about not being able to find. I'd be interested to know who of you out there have had internships, whether if you have been in charge of them or if you've been in an internship program yourself. Was it unpaid? Was it paid? But drop that in the chat, because I'd like to kind of see those who are watching and listening what your experience was like. Were you a glorified errand person, or were you made into a skilled employee? I would love to know, so drop it in the chat. So creating internships creates opportunities. You're giving young people or people who want to dive into a new industry the opportunity to learn. People are hungry for knowledge. People are hungry to learn more and to become a part of something. And so whenever you create these opportunities and you have people who are excited about those opportunities, it makes all the difference in the world. And then these opportunities, once they are seized by these people, these are what create the best leaders. All the leaders that I know and that I admire took an opportunity that was given to them and really took it and ran with it and made themselves super valuable. And these leaders are what make companies great. If you have a vision for your startup or for your small business into becoming a very successful company, you need great leaders to do that. And leaders are not made overnight. They take time and they take grooming, and they need to be given opportunities to become the leaders that they want to be. So things to ask yourself: what kind of investment am I willing to make? Sometimes this could be an investment in money, sure, but most of all for internship programs, it's an investment in time. It's not easy to teach someone something that is brand new to them that they don't know. I have a 1-year-old at home, and just teaching her how to feed herself is a feat. So much less teaching someone who has walked into your office, knows nothing about the industry, and might not know anything about the services you provide can be tough. So it is an investment in time, and sometimes can be an investment in resources depending on your business. What are the benefits to my business and the intern for implementing a program? So things to think about is this is not just to benefit you, but this is also to benefit the people who are coming to work for you, the people who would be coming into your internship program. And so how can they leave after your internship program is done being better? But how can they come into your business and make your business run more smoothly as well? And then, of course, what are the next steps? Once you decide that this is something that you're interested in, it takes, again, time and effort, and you have to have a plan of action. So what does that look like? And that's something we'll cover today. So first, talk about investment in time. Of course, it takes an investment in time on the intern's part. A lot of the interns that we work with currently are students. And so our internship is an unpaid opportunity, but you get hands-on experience from the owners of the agency, people who are working there for over a decade, and people who are immersed in the industry. And so it is a great opportunity to learn if it's actually something they want to go into. But they are full-time students, and so we can't forget that their time is also devoted to their studies. Sometimes they have another job on the side. And so we have to learn and be respectful of their time as well, just as we would ask for them to be respectful of ours. A lot of it can be research. The interns in our program do a lot of research. They immerse themselves in learning a lot. And they also have to do a lot of research on the industry itself for them to perform at their best capabilities. And then, of course, there's a learning curve, getting the ins and outs of the business. No one is going to walk in your office knowing exactly what to do. We have to be willing to allow them to make mistakes, be willing to provide a safe space to fail so that they can turn that failure into a success by the knowledge that they have gained. From the employer, for those who are going to be in charge of the internship program, it requires training. It requires time out of your day to make sure that you're training them well, so that, again, whenever they leave you, they have tangible skills and resources that they can bring to either their next job or remaining in your job. their work often has to be reviewed. I know that whenever I was an intern, I definitely had some things go out, some misspelled words on e-blasts, but that's the way you learn, and that's the way to get better. But as the employer, for big projects that you want your interns working on, of course, it's going to take some reviewing. Process and procedure implementation. Whenever you create an internship, there should be guidelines, there should be rules, there should be an understanding about what the learning objectives are, what the roles and responsibilities are. And especially from my experience working with startups and small business owners, a lot of times the go-to attitude can be like, well, I'm just going to do it myself. And so sometimes it takes a little bit more effort to step back and say, I'm going to allow them to do this. I'm going to create the process for it. It just takes a little bit extra effort. And then, of course, mentoring. I know that a lot of the small business owners that I know and who are my personal mentors, or that I know who are mentoring, it takes time out of their day. It takes extra effort to give someone advice. It takes extra effort to give people insight into your industry and into your life. But those are the things that are most important for interns to learn, because that will set them on the path that they're bound for in the future. Investment in resources. Depending upon your industry, this one might not be as heavy. Some employers offer paid internship programs. Some of them are unpaid. I personally believe that both are great options. Equipment, you want to be sure that your interns have a place to work, and training, and making sure that they know what they're doing. And sometimes that requires a little bit of extra pay for training if it's a particular program, just so you make sure that your interns are working and doing their duties properly. So benefits to the interns. As you're building an internship program, what we've tried to do is say, whenever they leave here, what are the tangibles that they can put on their resume? Or if they had to stay, what have they learned from us that will make our own company better? So hands-on experience in an industry of interest. People are coming in your doors because they think what you are doing is valuable. And to have someone who's openly saying, let me work for you, I think what you're doing is great, can be hard to find these days. But it's a great benefit to the intern. An opportunity for training and constructive critique. We work with our interns on the agency side and give them actual clients to pitch projects about and pitch projects for. And we work with them on how to refine those and how to expand upon them. And it's a safe space for them to do so, where they might not have that in their academic setting, but in a real world setting, we give them that opportunity. Networking and developing professional connections, whether it's through the 705 or Leadership Lafayette or other networking opportunities, it allows interns to make the connections that they need to further their career. And then an opportunity for paid or full-time work. As I had mentioned earlier, our interns have moved from unpaid positions to paid positions, whether part-time or full-time. If that's something that your company can offer to them, of course, it's a benefit to the interns who are participating. And then building soft skills for professional development. I know in our program, we try to go beyond just agency things, but to help them build themselves as a professional. So teaching resume building, teaching interview skills, teaching them how to write and how to communicate, because all of these things are going to build them to be a better employee, whether it be for us or for their next opportunity. Benefits to the employer. Producing a productive workforce. I know that in a lot of the conversations I've had within our own company or with clients as well, there's a lot of frustration when they're looking for good employees to bring into their company. They either have all the skills that they need, but it's not a good fit with the personality, or they're awesome and they're great, but their skill set doesn't quite meet what they're needing. And so for us, it's really important to produce someone that we can say we're proud to have as our employee, or that we're proud to refer to someone else. It's a win-win. Whenever we build people who are ready to work and have great hands-on experience, that benefits our community, it benefits our economy, and it benefits all of us personally. So how do I actually do this, and how do I actually carry this out? Because it sounds really nice and grand, but I have no idea how to actually implement this within my business. So make a plan. I know it sounds really easy, but something we say in our agency a lot is to begin with the end in mind. What do you want your internships program to look like? How do you want them to succeed? And what does that look like as far as their roles and responsibilities? Are they going to be paid or unpaid? Is it one intern or a team? What can you handle? Because of course you don't want to bite off more than you can chew. Will it be individual or shared roles and responsibilities? We worked with a lot of teams who are hiring 2 interns for this particular service, 2 interns for this service, or they all take turns. I think they're both great systems, but you have to kind of have that in your head before you blast that you're hiring for interns. Are you going to offer professional development opportunities? Is it just about your company, just about your work, or are you going to take it the next step further to help your interns grow as a professional? And that might not be a right now thing. That might be down the line. But again, make that plan. Will it be a first semester? Will you advertise in the spring and the fall and get a new batch of new people every semester if you're working with students? Or do you want it to be an ongoing situation where you found talent that you really love and you want to hang on to them? Or is it a combination of both? There are lots of things to consider, and the best programs are well thought out and have a plan. So these are just some prompts to think about whenever you're thinking about what you want your program to look like. Recruitment. How do I find these people? Well, fortunately, in the university system, we have the career services networks who have students who are professional, being trained, and are hungry to work, which in my opinion are the best kinds to recruit. So connect with those universities. They have tons of students who are ready and willing to work in the different colleges. And so you know that they have an interest in your industry. Post on social media. One of my favorite stories about how we got an intern over the summer was that we shared it on our Instagram, and we had Jet Coffee for some reason share our post. And we had an intern who loves Jet Coffee. And so she was scrolling through their stories and she said, I saw that y'all had an internship opportunity available. Because of COVID, mine had recently fallen through. And so it was like the coffee gods kind of let me know this is a great opportunity. And she came this summer and had a great time and really got to see what agency life was like, and was able to carry it into an opportunity during the next semester. So share it on your socials. People want to tell other people about opportunities. So make sure that you allow that to happen. Attending career fairs. I know in my experience in attending career fairs, it's really great to talk with students about what their goals are, how they view the workforce, what kind of internship programs they're looking for and will benefit them. Because again, we want to build a program that's mutually beneficial for both the employer and for the intern. So our key takeaways: if you build it, they will come. I think our agency has done a really good job of making sure that students know that our internships happen every semester. It's something to look forward to. It's fun, it's competitive, and we have built that internal brand when it comes to our internship program. An investment in knowledge pays the best interest. You want people who want to learn. And so find those people who are hungry to learn, and they're going to take that knowledge that you've given them and pass it along. And that's what makes our workforce better. And the greatest asset of a company is its people. You can have the best product or service in the world, but you have to have the right people in place to execute it in order for your business to grow, in order for your vision to come true, and just to make us have a better economy, better small business network, and just to have an overall better community. So that's all I have. I would love to take a little look in the chat and see what we've got going on there. Or Ashley, if you want to tell me a little bit about what's going on in the Q&A, I'd love to hear that too.
Yeah, so before we dive into the Q&A, you got a lot of great feedback on internships. It seems like we have an audience who's really, they have fond memories of their first internships, if you can check that out.
Yeah.
While I'm asking Jessica questions, if you guys want to continue to drop those in the chat or in the Q&A, the first question, what advice would you have to set up an environment that makes interns comfortable to ask for what they need or ask for help? And how do you train interns in being confident to ask for the mentorship they're seeking?
Sure. So our internship program, we have an orientation. So it's sort of like we set it up kind of like they are for school. We let them know what to expect. We let them know what those roles and responsibilities are going to look like. And we have check-ins every couple of weeks to just ask, hey, what have you learned? What are you interested in? We allow them to sit down with the different employees in our office so they can get a real life example of what it's like to work in that role, in that industry. And our office we've made it really important for our staff to know that interns are wanting to learn, and that we want people who might be taking over their jobs to be just as good as they are. And so it involves time. And so for us, I think it's just been one, making sure that our staff knows that interns are really important to us, and two, setting the tone from the beginning from interns to let them know that they have an open and safe environment to learn, to succeed, and to fail.
How do you encourage the rest of the team to really utilize interns in the most productive way?
So that can kind of be tricky. I think a lot of people in our office have the attitude of, I'm gonna just do it myself. Sometimes it takes a little bit of extra effort to ask someone to do it for you. But we make sure that for all of our client rosters, the different various projects that we have going on, to give our interns a chance. So whether they've expressed an interest in writing, an interest in social media, an interest in strategic brand planning, we have taken all that information from the beginning when interns come into our office. And so we let our staff know, like if we have a graphic design intern, we let our graphic designers know, hey, take them under your wing. They want to learn specifically about graphic design. Or our social media team, we have an intern who really wants to learn about social media. So that way they're aware that someone's wanting to learn, and it helps them make their job better. Because I think often you get caught into a cycle of always doing it yourself and it kind of becoming the same. And so especially in marketing and advertising and branding, having a fresh perspective is always nice. And so we try and make sure that our staff are utilizing people for that fresh perspective.
So it sounds like you're really integrating some job shadowing opportunities for your interns. How have you continued to manage that during COVID, where a lot of people are working from home?
Yes. So over the summer, we had a team of, I want to say 8 to 10. We had interns from SMU. We had interns from Ole Miss. We had interns from Texas A&M, LSU, and UL. And so we had literally interns throughout the country working for us. And it was a great practice for us to learn how to delegate digitally. And we were a marketing agency. We do a lot of digital work already. But it helped us to kind of see what that looks like whenever we expand our horizon beyond just our office walls. And so we really created an accountability system for our interns where it was like work. They would clock in, they would clock out, they would let us know what they were working on and the status of the project. So they really understood what it was like to work in an agency setting without having a boss breathe down your neck, which is a rare opportunity these days. I always joke that we are the opposite of micromanagers. Like, I almost wish sometimes you need a little bit of micromanaging in our office, but it's a great way for them to learn how to work independently. But I would say specifically this summer when we had people working remotely, it helped us to grow as a staff, and then also just to expand our horizons about what an intern program could look like.
So the next question is a bit more of a technical question that I think can apply to any workplace beyond just interns. What software are you using to help manage and track your projects when you're delegating out these assignments to your interns?
Google, which I know is a super simple answer, but we use Google. We have a Google Drive, and our office has really been making that switch to Google Docs and Google Sheets and things like that. And we make sure that they're well protected so our clients' information stays private and doesn't get out. But we have set up different accountability methods with clocking in and out on Google Sheets, having Google Docs where we always joke where all the different staff members are in the document at one time. There's different color blinkers going everywhere. But I mean, it's almost like our office in real life is what Google Docs looks like. It's because our office is very open and collaborative, but we always are able to close out tasks. So we use Google a lot. We have a program called Teamwork that keeps track of our creative tasks, and then our calendar. I mean, we try and make it as simple and as easy as possible.
Were you ever an intern?
I was. So I had the wonderful opportunity to work for Acadiana Center for the Arts. I have always loved music, and I got an internship there my sophomore, junior year of college, and ended up working there part-time, and then was given a full-time opportunity. And I really loved it. And I saw how important it was for me to just learn, and to be under the direction of someone who was in the field I was interested in. And so I did that. I interned for a photographer for a little while as well, and then worked as an intern at UL in the athletics department, helping student athletes tutor and time management. So I've had a lot of different opportunities. And it's funny because I think all of them have sort of come together into the position I'm in now. So it's pretty interesting to see how all that works out.
I think it's a really good opportunity to learn what you like and what you don't. I had shared in the chat earlier, my first internship was with Big Brothers Big Sisters of Acadiana, and never thought I would work in a nonprofit. I had an incredible internship manager, Michelle Robertson, who I'm sure some of you on the call are familiar with. She's a total rock star in our community, and I really credit a lot of the beginning of my career to her. And I love that you said, no one's going to come in knowing exactly what to do as an intern, and even a full-time employee. They've worked in different offices, they've learned different habits. And so I think it's key to be patient and understanding, and sometimes just let them know that if you want them to do something differently. I had not developed great office habits when I was first an intern. I'm not ashamed to admit that. And so she was very graceful about sort of calling me in and telling me, to redirect sometimes some of my energy and how I answered the phone and things I did in the office. But it really set me up for success, understanding how to go into every office job I had since then, knowing how to show up and how to present myself.
Yeah, and I think you hit the nail on the head when you said that it's important to find out what you don't like as well. I've worked for a very large variety of businesses, from nonprofit art to tax law, and now for a marketing agency. So to say I've run the gambit of industries, I think would be the understatement of the year. But I think for me, it was important to learn the type of work environment that I really liked, what fits my personality, but also where I can help and where my talents lie and how I can help business too. And each one of those places has taught me something new and something different, and I think has made me a better employee, because I don't think that you've ever stopped learning, no matter where you are. I think our CEO, Jackie, will say it all the time, that she's a lifelong learner. And I think that's super important. And I think, interns are kind of the perfect spot to do that, just to soak it all in, and hopefully it'll propel them to where they want to be next.
I also think it's a good opportunity for us to learn from interns. And so we typically, with COVID, things shifted, but at LIA, we typically have interns that we arrange through UL. And I've been fortunate to have absolute rock star interns that came in understanding a lot of things that I didn't. And so we've had a high school program that I've been in quite a while since I've been out of high school, but the benefit of having interns is that they were just much closer in age to our audience. And so I had interns who were teaching me things about Instagram that I did not know, helping me understand how to better use Instagram and market. And I was really grateful for how patient it was. And what I learned with a recent intern is that they really just wanted that opportunity to share their knowledge. And so we started creating an opportunity once a week where we would sync up, and I would send her out to learn new things and have her train me. And it was such a rewarding experience for both of us, because sometimes we all hit our mental capacity at work. And so it was great about sending her out to explore it, research it, and then to come back and sort of relay that information over to me. I think it made us both more productive in our roles.
Absolutely. And our interns have really done the same for us as well. Something that I'm pretty proud of that we've done recently is we had each of them come out with a plan of action for a campaign for a client. And so we've been able to pitch their ideas to clients, and a lot of them are actually getting implemented. And so it's super rewarding for us to get new, fresh ideas, but super rewarding for them that their work is going to be used for our clients. So again, those mutually beneficial relationships are really key for these programs.
So I'm dropping in the chat to see if anyone else has any questions. And while we wait for those to come in, what would you say are the most essential qualities for successful interns?
It's a great question. For us, it's someone who is hungry and eager to learn. I would say I always prefer to have someone who says, like, look, I don't know anything, but I want to learn everything, than someone who comes in and says, I know it all, you need me. So I would say someone who's eager to learn, someone who's able to work independently and in teams. I think being able to do both of those is super important, no matter what work environment you go in, because you never know, you could have to work from home one day, and you have to be able to manage yourself fairly well. And just someone who likes to work with people. I think that's really important, to form connections no matter where you work. I think is really important, because at the end of the day, you are working with other people, no matter what kind of industry you're in.
What advice would you have for someone who's hired an intern and they realize that the intern is not a good fit for their organization?
Yes. So we have had that experience ourselves, and it's never an easy conversation to have. But I think that you only hurt the intern by not telling them ways to improve. So we try to establish check ins where every couple of weeks we say, this is how your progress is doing, this is where you can be better, this is where you're really excelling. Because that's the way they've come to expect a review. And so I think those conversations are a lot easier to have once they're scheduled and they are expected. And then just measuring their progress and keeping up with them. So if you've given them a critique, follow up with them, let them know if they've improved or if they still haven't. But at the end of the day, if it's not a good fit, you have to let them know, because a lot of interns aren't going to want to work somewhere where they're not wanted either. So I just think having that transparency and open lines of communication is really key.
You mentioned during your presentation that you've been able to bring in some of your interns into the staff full time. And so is that an official part of your internship program, or is it just the timing of a role being available when they're done with their internship?
So sorry about that. Technical difficulties. So Ashley, if you wouldn't mind just real quick repeating your question, I'd be most grateful.
Yeah, definitely. So thanks for shifting rooms. You know, it's 2020, we figure it out. So the question was about, you mentioned you've been able to bring several of your interns into your team full time. And so is that an official program where there's an opportunity to turn an internship into a full-time role? Or is it more about timing, that when their internship time comes to an end, you have that role available?
So I would say it's kind of a combination of both. There have been opportunities where there was an opening and someone kind of fit the mold perfectly, and so we brought them in full time. But we've also had the situations where we would have been lesser as an agency if that person wasn't on our team. They brought something to the agency that just was really phenomenal, was a great fit for our team, and made us better. And so it's kind of a combination of both. But for us, we always tell people, even if we're not officially hiring, send us your resume, because it's important for us to have quality team members. And so even through internship programs, it's happened both ways for us. And I think for different companies, I've heard of more competitive spots where you're specifically in an internship to compete for a full-time position. Pretty crazy, but also pretty beneficial. So I think for us, it's a combination of both, and just kind of depending upon what your business is like, what those options would look like for you.
I think that's really living out your value of having the right people on the team. If you're sort of open to that person, even if you're not in the middle of looking for someone, it's a good way to sort of see what's out there and to make sure you get the best talent that you need for your team.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think, our team, you have to be able to work together. And so you can be the most skilled person in the whole wide world, but if you don't work well with the team that you're given, it's not good for us. It's not good for the clients. And so it's really important that collaboration is key.
What would your recommendation be for someone who's on the call today who might already have an existing intern program, but it really is focused a lot more on admin work than it is the intern's experience and growing their talent? What would be your advice on some of the first steps they can take to make that transition?
Sure. So I work with a lot of college students, and I get this question asked to me a lot. And the first thing is to just make yourself invaluable. Like if you left, almost sell yourself. If you left that company, make sure that they know that they would be worse off. So I know that kind of sounds ridiculous, but make yourself invaluable. If you're the errand person, make sure that they know that you run every errand on time, quickly, have the best deals. So even if the job that you've been given might seem not super important, every job in a business is really important. So own it. If you want additional responsibilities and they haven't been given to you, ask for them. Tell your supervisor, tell your boss what you're most interested in, because I don't feel like any business owner I know is gonna be like, oh, that person's so eager, can't stand it. So I think just asking for those responsibilities and letting them know that you're ready to take something else on, coming to them with ideas will really demonstrate your value and then also allow you to move into maybe one of those more important positions that you previously thought you could have.
Awesome. I don't see any other questions coming in. So to sort of wrap up, what would be your final parting words of advice?
So for business owners, I think my biggest advice would be take the time. It's not easy to find more time in the day. It's not. But to find the time to create a program that will, in the long run, benefit you and benefit those who are going to be entering the workforce. And then for those who are interns, ask. If there's somewhere that you want to work or feel that you're interested in, just because that there's not an internship opportunity posted on Facebook doesn't mean that there's not an opportunity available for you to be there. I think it's always better to ask than to assume. So if there's something you're interested in, or if there's a place that you want to work and you want to be a valuable team member, make yourself really present and there, and that you are really motivated to be there. So I think both of those, from the business owner side and the internship side, are really beneficial for everyone.
That's great advice. And Maggie in the chat is just seconding that, saying, the best way to move beyond your job is to be awesome at it. They have interns who make sure that everyone knew they were there and picked up the tasks, and those who thought they were too good to do the tasks. Who do you think we recommended for promotions? I think that's great advice for any job that you're in, sort of never thinking that you're above the small tasks to do them. Thank you so much, Jessica, for hanging out with us this afternoon. This was a great session.